Imagine just sitting in your class and minding your business, but suddenly seeing everyone around you floating. Sounds like a fun experience, but that's not it. Gravity would take everything away, including the moon, because obviously, how will the moon stay in orbit without gravity? Have you ever thought about life without gravity? How would we survive without this force of attraction? In this video, we are going to delve into an alternative reality for a sneak peek into a life without gravity. Watch this video until the end to learn about the scenarios that you may have never thought about. We all know about gravity. It is the force holding all of us together. Everything depends upon gravity. The planets and their orbits, the fruits on the trees, and even us walking around are because of this force. Let's say you're walking in a park with your friend. Well, you may not know, but there is a gravitational force, even between the atoms in your body and the atoms in your friend's body. Obviously, if something so important disappears, it is bound to get chaotic. Now, if you were thinking about spending your day floating in the air, then we are sorry to burst your bubble because you won't really make it through the day. This force is holding together the atoms inside our body, but if gravity was to disappear, then it would take less than 10 seconds for your insides to fall apart. And not only that, but gravity is also the major force behind our blood pumping. So if somehow you magically survive your insides falling apart, the lack of oxygen in your lungs would probably play its role. Certainly you won't find bodies dropping around you the second gravity disappears. Though it will be a matter of a few seconds, you'll find yourself losing everything one by one. First of all, you would find yourself floating since you are not attached to the earth. Then, you would feel as if you were losing strength because the positive muscles that previously kept you upright against gravity will now start to shrink. Almost all astronauts experience vision problems. This is because gravity pulls fluids to a person's lower body. But if you are in a zero gravity condition, then the fluid will float upward, which causes several vision problems. Astronauts go through this because of the time they spend in space. But if we lose gravity, then the Earth will be the same as the space. So it won't be too long before we start losing our vision. Gradually, the air we breathe is also kept around the Earth by gravity. So there will be no more air to breathe. Since there will be no air and oxygen, our brain cells will start to die. However, let's say your body does survive without gravity. But can you deal with your surroundings? It will probably be for the best if you're not home during this day, because if you are, then good luck trying not to get stabbed by a knife from your kitchen. Everything around would start floating. Your bed, your wardrobe, all your furniture will be up in the air. So with the constant battle of trying not to get hit by something, it would be a miracle if you come out unscathed. Yet staying in your house or in a building will still be the better choice for you. For the initial seconds, you may be safe being outside. May is the key word. You would surely be safe if you were on a deserted island. And even if you're in your usual surroundings, you can be safe for a while. The trees and buildings we see around ourselves are rooted pretty strongly to the ground, so they may not cause you any harm. But once the lack of gravity starts to hit, the impact will be too much for us to bear. The force of gravity is equal to the pressure from inside the Earth. What will stop the lava from emerging onto the surface once the gravity, which is the outside pressure, disappears? What will hold the Earth's tectonic plates in their place? We might have a massive earthquake soon after we lose gravity. By this point, the bodies of water would drift away into space. The oceans, rivers, and lakes would all start to dry as the water evaporates. And since the lava will be pumped up, all of the world's volcanoes will erupt as well. And once such a mega eruption happens, there is no way that anyone can survive. With the volcanic ash spread out around the Earth, the temperature will start to rise due to the greenhouse effect. And since there will be no more gases in the atmosphere, the sunlight will fall directly on the ground, which will increase the temperature even more. At this point, even the buildings will start to crumble since the binding agent, aka oxygen, will leave the Earth. And in the aftermath of the earthquake, all the concrete structures will give up. But that's not the end of it. While the Earth will be turning into a wreck, something worse will be happening in space. By comparison, the Earth's mass is nothing compared to the Sun's mass, and since the Sun is massive, it can keep all the planets in its orbit. Once gravity disappears, the intense pressure at the Sun's core will make this star explode within seconds. And you know what this titanic explosion means? The destruction of all the planets near this star. The closest planet to the Sun, which you know is Mercury, will turn into ashes directly, and since Venus already has a high temperature, it will also start burning up. However, these planets are not occupied. But you know what is? The Earth. The striking heat wave from the Sun would strike our planet, leaving it nothing but ruins. The Sun is just one of the stars that would explode. Upon this explosion, a wave would be sent toward other solar systems, and it will carry massive asteroids with it. But that won't really matter at this point. And if we are considering a magical moment and imagining that the explosion of the Sun would not destroy the Earth, then even that doesn't guarantee the Earth is safe, because the Earth is most likely to break apart and float off into space like every other object around. But how does any of that matter at this point? Who is going to be worried about the aftermath of having an asteroid hit our planet or our planet breaking apart when there would be no one left? The Earth and space would turn into shambles within seconds, and eventually, after a couple of minutes, there would be nothing left. Nothing can survive without gravity even for an hour, let alone a day. At one point, there will be no proper objects in sight. There will be no stars, no planets. The entire universe will be filled with nothing but debris floating around. Enough about the ifs. Let's talk about whether something like this can actually happen or not. Gravity is connected to mass, which is then related to matter. So the more matter, the higher the mass and the higher the gravitational pull. As per Newton, every object or body with mass will also have gravity. However, in comparison, humans have very little gravitational force. A change in mass so great that it would result in a change in gravity is not happening anytime soon. Scientists are pretty sure that gravity cannot just simply turn off, because for that to happen, first of all, everything will have to lose its mass. Secondly, gravity is tied to some of the major laws of physics. With scientists' current understanding of these laws, it is impossible for these laws to be violated, which means that there is no way that gravity can actually vanish. This was just a glimpse, not what would actually happen if gravity vanished for a day. And this was not even dramatic. It would truly take less than 10 minutes for the entire universe to be destroyed. There is no way that anyone would be alive to see what happens once gravity returns after the day. But if we are to talk about what would happen, then one word would be enough, which is destruction. Everything would be destroyed, from the skyscrapers to the trees, from the vehicles to the roads. Everything would be ruined, and everything that was floating previously would now be on the ground. We can only imagine how long it would take to redo the entire universe. It's fascinating how a mere force holds so much power over us. Are you prepared for a situation like this? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See ya!